guess just in your first spring with this group, what have you? What are your first impressions of the specialists that you have?
We got a talented group. I know we got some veterans coming back, right, that played a lot of football for us. So, Caleb's done a great job. He kind of helps lead the room. Hugh's been really good. Both snappers have been really good, Lane and Aiden. So we got a lot of guys that played a lot of football here. And Fabrizio had a big role last year, and Will played some too. And we got some newcomers too, and they've done really well so far. So like Declan and David have both done a great job. When they get reps in there, and it's been competitive. It's been good.
I guess with those two freshmen, I mean, this is all brand new for them. But what have you seen them maybe do here? I mean, it's not a ton of spring ball yet, but just to
they're both very
going.
talented. You can see that pretty clearly. Declan has done a great job when he's got in on punt. I mean, he hits a good ball, good hang. He's got good direction on it. I mean, he's a very, very talented kid. David, I don't want to jinx him, but he's yet to miss in practice yet. So if he misses tomorrow, blame that on me, But he's yet to miss. So he's been, obviously, practice is different than games, right? When there's some scrimmage situations and stuff. But I've been really impressed with both of them. Their work ethic, their demeanor, right? I don't see either one being the type of guy that, lets one bad play turn into two. You know what I mean? So that part's been good.
David's not the biggest guy, but were you surprised by the leg that
he's got a big leg? Yeah, he's got a big leg. So he's David's been really good so far. But yeah, the ball just kind of jumps off his foot, hits a clean ball consistently. So, and like I said, hasn't missed yet in spring ball. So if I jinx him, my bad, David. But he's been really good so far.
Is there any sort of technical explanation for how somebody who isn't as big in stature has such a big leg? Does it matter at all?
Leg speed is pretty big on that, and I think that's kind of some extent you can develop some of that, but a lot of it is you're talented or you're not at it, and flexibility is a big part of that too. But I mean, he's very consistent in his approach and what he does. He's got really good leg speed. And, his consistency's been really good so far.
Have you guys been able to iron out any philosophy on the return game at all? I mean, do you know how you wanted to approach that going into spring?
As coaches, we do, yeah. So we haven't, got to that. We will tomorrow for the first time. So, so we hadn't got to that with the players yet. But as coaches, we kind of know who we want to be and what we want to do, and excited to get rolling on that tomorrow.
Can you share what those things are?
On our return game?
Yeah, who you want to be and what you want to do.
Well, we want to, if you're talking on punt return, you want to be multiple in what you do, right? I think you got to be a team that has the ability to bring pressure, and you got to be able to set up returns, and being able to do both, I think, is a big deal. So we want to, put pressure on them, be aggressive. You know what I mean? We don't want to play on our heels on that. We want to be aggressive, and then kick return. I mean, we want to be able to return the ball multiple spots on the field, right? You got boundary, field, middle, so you want to be able to be relatively simple, but be able to so your players can go out and execute versus a lot of different looks, but be able to attack multiple parts of the field and kind of put pressure on them.
Philosophically, where do you stand on starters on special teams? I know there are a lot of programs where guys really get challenged and want to be on the field during those.
Well, the first thing I'd say is the thing I've noticed here is in the meetings, they're all in there, they're all notepads open, taking notes. It's been pretty impressive. Even the guys that are returning starters, like you had mentioned. Obviously it helps add value in the league, right? So very few players in the NFL are gonna be just a corner or just a linebacker. There's some of them, but there's not a lot. So obviously they get to dress less guys, but. I think it's best for your football team to have them out there in spots where it's important, like punt team and maybe a couple others, probably no quicker way to change a game than the punt team. But, I mean, some of them that can handle it, and a lot of it depends on how deep that position is too, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that go into it, but, I believe in playing them where you need to play them.
Anybody jumping out at you at the tight end room so far this spring?
Yeah, they're a great group of kids. I've had fun coaching them, but Tip is probably the most established guy coming back. Really intelligent, really physical kid. Great kid too. They're all great kids, but he's been really impressive so far. Just his demeanor, how he goes about practice, how he goes about it. Just in individual drills. You know, he treats that like a game rep. So that part's been impressive. And you know, they all got their own redeeming qualities. You know, Griffin's played some here. He's a good tight end for us too. You know, as far as route running, ball skills, he might be more developed than the others at this point. And you know, Henry Boyer's a young guy who's done a good job. He's physical in the run game, and you know, Tanner Arkin's a transfer here. He's picking it up pretty quick. He's a highly intelligent kid who's played college football, and he's doing a great job. You know, and obviously Ben Schultz kind of switched positions from defense to offense, but he's been a really tough kid, really intelligent kid, and seen some stuff out of him. And you know, young guys like, you know, Owen Anderson's done a really good job. He's continuing to get better each practice and plays really hard. Nate Ginn, you know, our mid-year signee, has showed some flashes. You know, last practice is probably his best practice, so it's been fun. They've been doing a good job.
Would you like a variety of skill sets like that, or would you rather have a complete guy who can play inline and flex out? Or?
Yeah, well, ideally you'd like to, if you could have one guy do it all, you know, but how many guys are, you know, when you get that, that's kind of like you're an NFL guy, you know what I mean? So, yeah, in our offense, we use tight ends, like you said, flexed out, in line. We use them as H-back, move around guys. So we'll use them in a lot of different ways. You know, so obviously being versatile is obviously an advantage to you, right? If you can only do one thing, it's hard to play every play, regardless of how good you are at doing that one thing.
Tip mentioned that, you know, last year was kind of tight end coached by committee a little bit, so like they had to kind of learn how to keep themselves going in like real player-led room. Have you seen any results of that? You know, just where those guys have been maybe locked in together.
Yeah, they're very together as a unit, which I think that's something we take a lot of pride in, and they've done a great job with that. And I think yeah, Tip could go coach the room if he wanted. You know, I think he's incredibly intelligent and he's got leadership qualities. You know, I think. You know, they're all very coachable. That's one thing I like. They're open to new stuff. You know, hey, here's how we're going to do this first step. It's not, you know, it's not hard to change anything subtly like that. But they've been really open to it, and you know, I like that. I mean, we got, like we said a million times, we got really good kids in that room who love football. So it's fun to coach those guys.
You mentioned Griffin's route running, pass catching abilities. Guy we haven't seen a lot of on the field. Like, what have you learned about him early on?
He's an incredibly intelligent kid. So, like, you know, one of my first days here, he was hanging out in my office, and I was asking him questions. I was just going through questions, asking about the offense. He could tell you everything in great detail. Like, he's an incredibly intelligent kid, you know, really well-spoken kid, good kid. And, yeah, I mean, he's just got a knack for understanding coverage and defense, and he's got good ball skills. And, you know, he's been good so far.
We've heard that Henry Boyer has a bit of a personality on him, and like Coach B talked about his first fall, he was getting in a fight about every 3 practices.
Boy,
what have you seen out of his mentality that you've enjoyed coaching?
Boyer's a great kid. He'll write down everything you tell him and work to, you know, improve things you tell him he needs to improve on. But I think he is a very physically tough kid, and it means a lot to him, right? He wants to do right. He wants to do what you're asking him to do, and you know, he finishes blocks. Like, he's a big guy, right? But he plays big too. You know, like I think he's got a really, really bright future. So he's got you know, there's some things we can, you know, continue to improve with. You know, maybe in the passing and stuff. But the kid's really talented, really good kid, really good size, and just wants to be great. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot to be said for that.